Good evening. Welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage. It's the Friday wrap up, but it's actually Saturday evening. I overshot by a day, but hey, I'm not sure anybody really cares. It was an up and down week, mostly up. It was kind of an adjustment going from shooting a video a day for a week or so to none till tonight. There was a couple more hot days after I finished where I was able to turn the fan on, turn the radio on, and work on some transmissions, some that I enjoy working on, and others that I don't. If there's one thing in life that everybody needs to learn, it's how to say no. And this one, I betrayed myself, and I took in a 204R only because it's been a long time since I've even seen inside one. I do have a couple for myself, so I figured why not? Let's rip into it. And how does it go? Every opportunity is either a blessing or a lesson. Well, this is somewhere in between. So let's talk about other things that happened this week. I took delivery of the other three HD Pontiac Swamp Monsters. All six came from the same place. And while I'm super excited about the first two, they look really nice from the outside, I'm sure I'll be bitterly disappointed, and I'll be sure to video the whole thing. And then on wonderful Facebook Marketplace, a guy that I dealt with before, apparently he was moving and had a truckload of 4L80Es. Unfortunately, yesterday morning, by the time he saw my message, he'd already driven with them in the back of his truck through my town, and I had to catch up with him a couple towns over. What I like about these is one is it's marked good. The guy swore he took it out of a perfectly running truck. Not that I care. The other one's a GM Goodwrench, which is cool. All three of the four have torque converters, and two of them have the aluminum cover. Now that aluminum cover on the front of a 4L80 that actually bolts the oil pan, when I LS swapped the red Dodge, I wanted to put one on. And a used one cost me $80. So I've been trying to collect one or two here and there, and I actually only had one, so now I have three. That should be sufficient. They fit a two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive. And on an LS, they bolt the oil pan and really stiffen up the bell housing area. And while making temporary room for them here in the tractor shed, I flipped over the seats that came with the yellow 64 Dodge Dart, and I forgot or didn't know that they have the stock seat adjusters still bolted to them, so I'm going to adapt those over to the seats that I bought. It's hard to believe it was July, the last time I worked on the 64 Dart. Time sure does fly. I've done nothing but transmissions for the last, 5 or 6 weeks. Pretty much wasted half my summer, but that's just the way it is. So I'm saying temporary storage in the tractor shed because there's no room in that box, and there's no room in that box. I just rearranged that one too. I could probably fit more, but I'd have to, story of my life, have to do more moving around. Here we are under the 72 Nova, and you can see there's something missing. Transmission number 7 that I built for this car, that I bolted in place so I wouldn't sell it. Well, seeing as how I just built 2 more transmissions for myself, and one of them is going to be really good. That coincided with a phone call I got Tuesday night from a guy who was digging up an old ad of another transmission I had for sale. Want to know if what I had kicking around, he's looking for the whole setup. Tranny, converter, safety shields, and shifter. And want to know if I'd sell him that. I said, yeah, I'll pull the one right out of my car. And I got busy for a couple days and wasn't sure he was totally serious, but sure enough, Thursday night he said he definitely wanted to pick it up today, and that's exactly what happened. I pulled it out Thursday night, and we made a deal today. So it's gone. I did take some pictures, so I'll know how much room I have for the governor cover for my dump valve setup I'm going to make. So I swore I'd never sell that one, but I fall in love with every one of them. I actually said goodbye to it and got a little teary. I'm going to weigh this, but this is the hardware to bolt the transmission in. It's got to be a couple pounds. Should get titanium like my buddy Charlie says. I completed the teardown of this Turbo 400. Belongs to another guy in a Turbo Camaro. It only had a short pan. You can see the fluid's black. All the clutches are burnt. Sprague's junk. Not supposed to go that way. Every thrust washer in it's purple. It does have a ATI forward drum with grooves cut in it for the return oil. Solid shaft. So I guess you can run a stator bushing with that. Expensive drum. Inside it, stock hub. Interesting choices. Clutches absolutely smoked right out of it. We can fix it. That's what we do. Disassembling the 204R on the other hand, not so much fun. It does have some good parts. It has a billet servo. You can't see it, but it has a billet pump stator. All upgrades to the 204R. But I'm making tools to even take it apart in an hour. I got this far today, but that's all you can do is take your time and make whatever tools you need to get it apart and, more importantly, back together successfully. Should have said no. About a month ago, a buddy of mine had a brand new set of Liberty Performance 345cc big block Chevy aluminum heads that he wanted to part with, so I bought them. And that's more cylinder head than I have a couple junk 396 402s, a truck 427, and a couple of junk 454s, but nothing worthy of it. And then a buddy of mine was selling this 505-inch. It's got an Eagle rotating assembly. I don't know whose pistons are in it. It's relatively fresh. So, in the future, near future, we need to go through that, take a peek. I don't know if I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to at least pull the pan, figure out what it has for cam. It definitely has a solid roller in it. Came with the lifters and everything, so. Piece this together. Should be an interesting power producer for something. I love big blocks, but I don't love cast iron big block cylinder heads, so. Of the ones I collected, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. I'm still not, to be honest with you. I went on a nostalgia craze. First, I got rid of all my big blocks. I never really had any small block stuff and went all LS. And then the last couple of years, I've come up with a few small blocks, a few big blocks, and more LSs. Because they're still, well, I don't know if they're the answer, but I like them. I still need to build my 421 small block and my 377. I cringe every time I peek at them to make sure they're not rusting, but I gotta get, before I get disappointed when I pull the bag up, I gotta get on that. And that's an aluminum 5.3 that's gonna end up in the yellow dot. I love projects. It's a good thing. Sometimes when I look at them, even I get overwhelmed. And then I go in the house, sit down, and 5 minutes later, I'm all excited to work on and/or shop for more projects. You're probably the same way. As you can imagine, I'm always wheeling and dealing, either in person or online, electronically. Very seldom do I have a problem. I should count my blessings. But occasionally things happen. There's not much you can do about other than get smarter next time. I'm not sure I will, because I generally look at life and trust people, and that usually works out. But in this case, August 14th, there was a Turbo 400 for sale in New Hampshire, just barely into New Hampshire, next state over. I contacted the guy, because he got right back to me. I was going to pay full price because it was only $150 for a four-wheel drive core that was burned up. I offered to put a deposit of $50 down. And that's the last time I'll ever see my $50. If you use the Cash App or Venmo, I believe Venmo is not just for thieves, but it's an excellent way to steal money because they will not do anything to get your money back. Unlike PayPal, now PayPal charges fees on incoming money, but there are people there to electronically return your money if things don't work out. So I've used Venmo 3 times, and twice I've had a problem. This is the first time I'm actually going to lose money. I mean, I guess it's possible the guy might be living in the woods and maybe he didn't have any reception, even though on his Facebook page he's online every 20 minutes. But hey, it won't change my outlook on life, and that's just one of those things. If somebody was that hot up for $50, they'll jeopardize their name, you got to feel sorry for them, because that's exactly what happened. And we have mutual friends, come to find out. But young Sean would probably be more upset. Me, nah, nothing you can do. So anyway, like, share, subscribe. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be about. Just take it day by day. I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.